Hey everyone, what if I told you one of the biggest oil companies on earth makes more money than Apple, yet people outside Asia barely talk about it? This company fuels cities, powers industries, shapes geopolitics, and sits at the center of China's energy ambitions. Today, we're diving into Sinopec Group, how it started, how it became one of the largest corporations in the world, the scandals it faced, and what the future really looks like. And stay until the end because I explain why companies like Sinopec can quietly shape the global energy balance more than big oil in the West ever has. How did Sinopec start? Well, Sinopec didn't start like most oil giants. There was no wildcatter drilling in the desert, no private founder chasing riches. Instead, Sinopec was born inside the Chinese government. In 1983, China created Sinopec as a state-owned enterprise, designed to manage refining and petrochemicals across the country. At the time, China was opening its economy, industrializing rapidly, and needed tight control over energy. In 1998, the company was formally restructured as the Sinopec Group we know today, merging refining, chemicals, pipelines, and retail fuel under one massive umbrella. From day one, Sinopec wasn't just a company, it was an arm of the national strategy. So why did Sinopec become so big? Well, it became so big and grew into a global giant. First, it guaranteed a demand. China is one of the largest energy consumers in the world. Sinopec supplies fuel to power plants, factories, transport networks, and millions of petrol stations. That demand never disappears. Second is the state backing. Unlike private companies, Sinopec has preferential financing, easier access to land, political backing for overseas deals. This lets it survive oil crashes that would destroy smaller firms. Third is vertical integration. Sinopec controls refining, chemicals, distribution, and retail fuel stations. This makes it efficient and extremely hard to compete with inside of China. The result? Sinopec regularly ranks as one of the top companies globally by revenue, often trading places with Saudi and Morocco for the number one spot. Sinopec on the global stage. Sinopec isn't just a Chinese company, it's a global operator. Over the years, it's invested in Africa, the Middle East, Latin America, Russia, and Central Asia as well, often in places where Western oil companies avoid due to risk or politics. Why? Because Sinopec doesn't just chase profit, it helps secure China's long-term energy supply. This has made it a key player in energy geopolitics, especially as China looks to reduce dependence on the US dollar-based oil system. Of course, a company as big as Sinopec doesn't remain scandal-free, and two main things that it's been affected with recently. One is corruption cases. Now, China often goes on China's anti-corruption campaigns, and several senior Sinopec executives have been jailed recently, accused of bribery, abuse of power, and a misuse of state funds. These scandals expose weak internal oversight and political appointments over technical expertise. It's also faced backlash from environmental criticisms as well. Things like environmental pollution, chemical leaks, and carbon emissions. While it follows China's regulations, critics argue that the rules are often less strict than Western standards. Still, none of these scandals have seriously threatened Sinopec's survival because its role is simply too strategic. So what's next for Sinopec? This is where things start to get interesting. Sinopec knows the future isn't just about oil. The company is now investing heavily in hydrogen fuel, renewable energy, carbon capture, and EV charging infrastructure. China wants to dominate the next generation energy, not just fossil fuels, and Sinopec is central to its plan. But here's the challenge. Can a massive oil giant truly reinvent itself, or will it move slower than smaller, more agile green startups? So here's the big takeaway. Sinopec isn't trying to be loved and it isn't trying to be trendy. It exists to power a nation of 1.4 billion people and to make sure China is never energy starved. As Western oil companies focus on shareholders and public image, Sinopec focus on scale, security, and state priorities. And that's why, quietly, companies like Sinopec may shape the future of global energy industry more than oil giants that you hear about in the West. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit the like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, should state-backed giants like Sinopec worry about the rest of the world, or are they just playing a different game? Thank you for listening.